Hello and welcome back to the latest episode. And today, with me, as always, is Misa Sista.
That is right.
And this is the Rule of Two here on this channel. And as the title suggests, we are going to be talking about the third episode of Star Wars: The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. Seems to just stay, getting better. Every episode, and we're also going to talk about Jedi Fallen Order because we finished the game
finally
together. So there wasn't a lot that I don't think there was much, if any, that you did not see. As far as all the gameplay too. But yeah, those are two things today, and so let's get into the third episode of The Mandalorian, directed by Deborah Chow.
The Sin.
The Sin is the title of this.
I love these episode
chapter.
titles.
Yeah, chapter 1 is the weakest one, but I mean, it's because it's chapter 1, but whatever. I think this is a great episode. I want to hear your thoughts on this episode, The Sin. This will be spoilers too for both the third episode of The Mandalorian and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So go ahead.
I think in this episode they just took everything up a notch. Maybe several notches.
Definitely. Especially the action.
Again, we don't get more characters. We're sort of sticking with the same group of people.
Still no Gina Carano.
Which I thought we would be getting, some more reveals of more people, I guess.
Right.
We get a little bit more of Carl Weathers in this, which is always great.
Yeah, he was great.
They just took it up. I'm very excited for Deborah Chow. I can't wait to see her doing the Obi-Wan series. And she's proved everything she needs to prove with me for this.
Definitely.
It starts out and you're just like, is he gonna turn the kid in? He does.
Yes,
and
this
then
was
you're
a
like,
debate. Since the first episode, this was a debate.
Yeah.
Amongst our circles of peeps. And this is what I thought would happen. I don't know if I said it last week, but this is what I thought would happen. I did call this last week, I guess, after we saw the second episode. I kind of called that, or I thought that it was a very good possibility that he would turn in the kid, get the Beskar, and then maybe go back because it, just weighed on his conscience.
Yeah, there was a debate over whether this guy had a heart or not, and it looks like he does.
Yeah.
And
it's good. It's good for him. It obviously it works for the story itself. And it makes for a great episode. It makes for a great John Wick episode.
But not only he gets the Beskar steel, and we didn't have to wait the entire season to see him
get fully armored up.
Brand have
new
a heart. But they do, obviously the end of the episode, the big moments, they do them just so well. It's so well done. But also the small moments when he gives the little knob to the child. Just so these, you love these moments.
They're and all the Mando stuff. We get some more flashbacks of him when they are forging his new armor. I love that we get the other Mandalorians talking and
Mandalorian lore.
More Mandalorian lore. This is the way. They keep coming up with these cool one-liners. I just hope they can keep it up because these are pretty cool. We got I've spoken and this is the way. It seems like this tribe of the Mandalorians, they're not about taking their helmets off, which I enjoy. The only other time we've seen Mandalorians take their helmets off have been in the animated shows, and I believe it's just my opinion, so it's not fact or anything, but I think that it has to do with the storytelling and that maybe they don't believe that kids could get fully invested in characters like Mandalorians unless they take their helmets off. That's just an opinion. I'm not
for
sure.
the other shows.
Yeah, for the other shows. And that's just an opinion. We obviously know Dave Filoni was he was a heavy influence on both the Clone Wars and Rebels, which are the other two shows with Mandos in it. And in those two shows, the Mandos take their helmets off all the time. And he is also a big component of this, so he obviously approves of both methods. I feel like it might have been Filoni, it might have been Favreau, it might have been both of them that were like, no, I think it'd be a really cool story choice for them to have a thing about or this tribe to have a thing about not taking off their helmet.
We get Favreau, at least his voice.
Yeah, he voices
one of the characters.
One of the Mandos.
Yeah, I would like to see the helmet off, just because that's my personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
I respect what they're doing here.
Right.
I think it is more about this one tribe, though, because in the Clone Wars, you do get Mandalorians who don't have any armor, who don't wear helmets at all. So I wouldn't say that it's a Mandalorian thing altogether.
Right.
So yeah, but it's a cool thing for them.
I think it works. Like,
I don't know who it is,
well.
the Forger, whatever. I don't know her name, but
yeah,
one of the things she asks is, "Have you ever taken your helmet off? Has it ever been taken off in battle by somebody else?" Or she says something to that effect, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is a big deal." It's a big deal to them, like, not taking it off. Like, I could understand how that would be. You take
this thing off just to shower and maybe to sleep. And even then, you might sleep with it.
But in battle, that's what makes a lot of sense to me. Like, you don't want anybody taking your helmet off.
I mean, and Favreau's character, like, grabs his helmet almost like he's going to take it off. And that's when the Mandalorian's like, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah, it's just a really cool episode, and like I said, really well done. I mean, all elements of this show are great. The music, the cinematography, the acting, the
directing, the writing is super concise, because let's be honest, nobody would bat an eye if they were hour-long episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people would be happy with that. Like, for me personally, when I first, the first episode, I said to you guys, I was like 30 minutes. And even last week, with both episodes, last week being 37 minutes the first episode and 30 minutes the second episode, I want more. Obviously, I want more because I am a Star Wars fan. But I am this 3 episodes in, and I am totally convinced that, like, half an hour, they are making it work.
Yeah.
I'm not like having to wonder about things. I'm not getting cliffhanger endings. I'm not, I'm not being like, oh, this particular storyline or this particular story beat could have lasted a little bit longer or something like that. No, they're making this work, and it's working well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see how the other actors, Gina Carano and Esposito, I'm just so excited to see how they fit into the story. Emily Swallow, like, it's shaping up to be really great. And
could Emily Swallow be this lady, or is she like, has she been shown in the?
Well, I know in the trailers there's been a little bit of focus on a Twi'lek. So
that could be
I
her.
thought that might be her, but you're right. This could be her.
The Smith.
Yeah, but at the end of this, spoilers, obviously, but
at the end of this episode,
I don't know that we're gonna get much more of this group
Smith,
or
this tribe.
Yeah,
I would assume yes. We would get more just because this is his tribe.
Right, just to let him know, like, where they are,
because he obviously cares about, like, the foundlings, and he cares very much about the tribe. You get that, If he cared enough to go back for the child, I'm pretty sure he cares a little bit more about his family, basically, you know?
Yeah.
This is the way.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Weathers, though, this character is awesome. I love this cantina that he just hangs out in.
He's feeling good in his new
the
suit
Mandalorian coming into that cantina with the chrome shined up, like the Mad Max guys would love this guy. They'd be all about it.
And this is such a it's such a moment.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna remember this for a long time, I think. Just
this man is shiny.
They're doing a really good job of creating moments that are going to last.
Yeah.
Which is what Star Wars has always done.
Yes, and it's not just the awesome moments where it's like this guy just got his brand new armor and he's flaunting it, but it's the cute moments with the child.
Right.
And it's the great action moments with the birds, the whistling birds. Right. That was one of the coolest things, just because you were like, how does he get out of this? And then boom, whistling birds, you know. Yeah. And they weren't just like and they looked cool and they sounded cool, and it was like, oh, this is something a Mandalorian would have.
Yeah, the action moments in this episode they were so different, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
You had one very slow, he's going in, picking off people.
Oh yeah.
Getting that child.
This man turned into Sam Fisher. Not many people know that, but it's like a stealth game. He turned into John Wick, basically, just going through, mowing down people. People don't know where he is.
But not even it wasn't a loud.
And he was doing it with a baby in one hand. It
was just sort of a quiet. When he was first going in, it was just very quiet, taking out people one by one.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing. He
cased the place. Yeah. He knew exactly what was happening there. And then when he got out, it became, once he got into the street and he had the baby and everything,
it was John Wick.
It became this huge, big moment.
The build up, and then him just going at everybody, just pulling out his blaster. There's 50 dudes around him. This man is still, he believes, he likes those odds, you know?
Right. Carl Weathers, sort of, I mean, in our minds, became a little bit of a villain, but obviously he's just doing his job.
But at the same time, it was
it's a baby.
Yeah, he was all about the job. It's the job. He got paid, so he doesn't care about the child. He's just, I think it's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, Carl Weathers gets shot. For a moment, we thought he was dead.
Maybe.
And then we saw that the Beskar steel actually got hit.
Yeah, that was funny. I liked how he was all bad and in the way of the Mandalorian when he was walking down out of there. And then when the Mandalorian pulled out his blaster, he got behind some cover.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see some disintegration.
We got to see some more disintegration, which is always a plus from me. Man,
there were no monster moments in this
one. Not this episode,
which I appreciated. That's the only part to me that I feel like they falter on when it comes to
really
CGI. They're just not, as well done as I'd like them to be.
Right.
So in this one, no monster moments, but we do get obviously the ship, and I don't know if they have that completely built somewhere in a studio or something.
I would.
I mean, I would really.
I would live in it.
I don't know if the actor is living in it, but
probably not.
The ship looks great, and all of the fights look great. You just really believe it's happening. And when the Mandalorians
come out,
start flying up in the sky, it just looks so good.
It was very, very well done. I like that they kind of built it up a little bit with the rocket coming in from off screen and taking out one person, and then it was bam, all these Mandalorians, and that's one thing that I'm like, all right, I get it. I get why he goes back for the kid. It's because this is obviously a tribe of the Mandalorians who value each other. Mm-hmm. They are much like, as much as you want to make fun of it, like the Fast and the Furious family. You know what I'm saying? They are definitely family, and it's not just family in the sense that, oh, we'll take care of you, or we'll be your Smith, or whatever, or leave some for the foundlings. But no, if you're in trouble, we're gonna come and help you out.
Yeah, I
And even the Mandalorian said, he's like, you guys are gonna have to relocate and all that stuff. And he was like, hey, it's all good.
I really enjoyed.
This is the way.
Yeah, all of that. They seem to be very. At one point, they mentioned like they can only go out one at a time or something.
Right.
And I like the fact that they're so focused on sort of the legend of the Mandalorian.
Right.
Rather than like we can be out here in numbers and like going into war and stuff like.
Yeah.
They're just like, no, one at a time. We're not going to be all up in everybody's faces. I mean, if you have seen the Clone Wars, you know that the Mandalore was sort of full of civil war and always fighting.
Yeah.
So if your people come from that, then they're probably wary of war. And so
yeah, they don't want to war with people because,
and as we've learned from Avengers, like power and strength invites power and strength.
Yeah.
And so it kind of all becomes a mess. So I really enjoyed learning those little elements about the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where this series goes. I hope that I hope that our Mandalorian stays in touch with the other Mandalorians, and maybe
what is he gonna do with the baby?
Exactly. There's a lot of questions, but they're good questions. It's not just like questions like, wait a minute, it's questions of, oh, what's gonna happen now? How will he do this? Or I definitely do hope that he stays in touch, or that we see the other Mandalorians.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he does have to get his signet. He almost got it, but then he
got whistling.
No, that was the wrist rockets.
Yeah, they had mentioned it during the time of that.
Yeah. He was gonna get the signet of the mud rhino, or I forget what.
Right, but he didn't do
it.
But
he was like, "Nah, it wasn't an honest kill," and so he's gonna have to fight another monster to get his signet. And so hopefully, when he does that, he'll get his signet, and it'll be awesome.
But you were pretty spot on with your predictions last time for this episode.
I have
what's
no
your
idea.
Prediction about what's gonna happen with the baby?
I have no idea. Because as far as we know, like obviously none of the trailers had the baby, but I don't know. I think it could be like a John Wick 3 type of thing where he's just gotta try to stay alive. He's just try to get, he has to try to get out of this place because obviously there are people gonna come after him. Carl Weathers is still alive, and he's probably gonna, get some people around to be like, hey, let's go after this guy because he broke the code. I feel like that is where it's going to go from here. Obviously, Giancarlo Esposito, who is a Imperial, is going to come into the season at some point. And, maybe like along the way, he finds Gina Carano's character, or maybe she owes him something or something like that. You never know. But I really don't know because at this point, I feel like it could go in many different directions, and I don't really know where it'll go. I don't really have much not exploration, but much speculation as far as what could happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me neither. I'm so excited.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. Friday can never come fast enough.
Like, I don't know what they're gonna do next, but I'm here for it.
Yes, 100%. 100%. I think that I also Deborah Chow. Hats off.
Incredible.
Hats off to you. Hats off to Dave Filoni and Favreau. Definitely Favreau, because we know the scripts started with Favreau and went to Dave Filoni. So hats off to all three of those people. You still are writing the show very well. Super tight.
Yeah, we're 3 episodes in, and the writing is fantastic.
The writing is fantastic. Everything is tight. There's no stupid questions. There's no complaining, from the fans. And this is kind of one of those things where it's like, you can't please everybody. Well, you kind of can. Just make it great. Mm-hmm. And they are doing that, they are doing that without a doubt. The production is great. The acting is great. Everything is just top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much our thoughts on the 3rd episode of The Mandalorian, The Sin. Tell us your thoughts in the comments section down below. And I will make sure that the title of the thing has spoilers, so don't worry about spoiling the third episode of The Mandalorian. Now let's move on to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. We finished it, obviously, and I think that it is obviously the best Star Wars video game that the new regime of Lucasfilm has had someone make. Battlefront 1 was not amazing. Battlefront 2, the story was fun, but for me, like, this video game, Fallen Order, just it delivered on what they promised, which was a great linear story, with great characters, some cool action, some of the set pieces as far as like what goes down, especially with Kashyyyk, some of the cool Kashyyyk set pieces with the Ninth Sister. When you fight her, it's not just a straight up, go into an arena and fight her. There's like a lot of build up to it, and that all that action is amazing. There's some great lightsaber play, which, obviously the later into the game you get, the more intricate you can get with your lightsaber moves, and I just enjoyed that very much. And then the force was handled very well. I feel like they didn't make the character overpowered, and they didn't make it seem like he was just a youngling and barely knew how to force push. No, he had some really pretty cool stuff. You could do, throw your lightsaber at people. You can shove them. You could pull them. You could freeze them, Kylo Ren style, just for a little bit though. But it was really cool. I thought that they did a really good job with making this character who definitely was a Jedi, because you have all the Jedi things you can do, but not in a sense of like the Force Unleashed, where you're just like, all right, this guy's like clearly just, you should have beaten Vader, you should have beaten Palpatine, and it was just, to me, it was what they promised us with the trailers and with what the developers of it, Respawn Entertainment, with what they promised us with all of their interviews and stuff like that. It delivered on all those kind of things, and it was a solid story too. What do you think? Because you were here for just the story. You obviously sat in for a lot of it. She played some of it too, which was cool, fun to do. But you were here for the story. So what did you think of this story?
I thought it popped off real quick.
Yeah, Cal Kestis, the story gets going.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't know how rare that is or whatever. I don't really play
I personally was surprised at how quickly you got into doing Jedi stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right about him not being too overpowered. I was expecting or underpowered. I was expecting him to be less, I guess, knowledgeable in the Force. Right. But he's an older kid, I guess. I don't know who plays him, but he does a really great job.
Oh, Dominic Monaghan. I think.
Dominic? No.
Cameron Monaghan.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this guy.
He does a really great job. I mean, I've seen him. He's played a version of the Joker, I guess, on Gotham.
On Gotham, yeah.
So I've seen him before, and he's just so likable.
He was very good, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's different acting in this than in other things, but I just really enjoyed his performance.
Right. There was a vulnerability that the character had because of some of the stuff that happened in his past, and I like that they went to the past with some flashbacks.
Yeah, that was cool. He also got some. Well, you were gonna say something about him?
No, I like the flashbacks, and his master's pretty cool too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we get a Zeb, I guess, species. I forget his name though.
Lasat. That's the species name.
Yeah, he's really cool and very sort of like, he's got that like ponytail or braid in the back, and yeah, he's a really cool character.
Yeah.
But we get some new Force abilities, I guess. We see the second sister, is that what her name is?
The second sister.
She like has some sort of like push down move where like the ground crumbles and like, or pushes out. That's pretty cool.
She braces her fall. with a gentle force push. We've seen that in the Clone Wars. There's a time where Anakin and Ahsoka jump off like a dam type of thing, and they like use that kind of thing where they like force push or do something with the force to like slow their momentum down.
But with hers, it's more of like a.
It was like a float, like she floated down.
No, I mean she used it as like she hurts Cal when she does it.
Oh, that move. Yeah, that's kind of like a video game thing where when you have bosses, sometimes they'll like jump up in the air, they'll like hit the ground, and then you'll see the wave come out from them. That's more of a video game thing to me than like a force ability. But I see what you're saying. Forget about what I said, people.
With his master though, or his sort of master.
It was, yeah, his.
She creates like a force field barrier thing.
Oh yes, Deborah Wilson. She played her master.
I forget her name. Oh, Seer.
Yeah, Seer Junda.
Yeah, she was really great.
She was fun. Yeah, she had a like tragic back. She had
a lot of depth.
There was, yes, and that's one thing that was to me. I was very hoping, and I was hopeful that they would do it. Is they gave each character had good depth as far as like the game takes place 5 years after episode 3, and so the two Jedi characters of Cal and Seer, they both had like rather traumatic experiences with the Order 66 and what happened.
Yeah, as well as the second sister we get to see, who is connected to Seer.
It played by Elizabeth Grulon. I butchered it. I'm sorry. Played by but she plays a good villain. I hated her most of the time. A little bit of redemption. There was some redemption. Yes, and
she definitely, right before she gets struck down by Darth Vader.
Darth Vader comes in.
She says, "Avenge us," and you know.
Oh yeah.
So
I feel like she did a good job, and it was one of the better villains that we've seen in the new regime of Star Wars, because you get backstory that the second sister was actually an apprentice of Seer Junda, and Seer Junda she got caught by the Empire, and then she was tortured until she gave up the location of her apprentice, and her apprentice was like tortured until finally she kind of gave in. And gave into the dark side and became an Inquisitor. So it made me feel for an Inquisitor, which, is not something I would expect. That's not the kind of depth I would expect from a video game villain.
Right. We also go to Dathomir, which was, for me, like, I really enjoyed that. I didn't get to play there at all, but that doesn't really matter. I'm not much of a video game player, but Dathomir was great. We found like an ex-Jedi sort of dude there. He was kind of freaky looking, but he fought Cal, and then we also got a Night Sister. I guess she was like one of the last of her kind. She was really great. We ship them, right?
Yes, the Night Sister Marin, Tina Ivian. I'm sorry, I butchered that one. Huh? Ivlev? Oh, is that an L? Oh, I'm sorry.
Not
Tina. Tina did a really good job with the Night Sister Marin. I thought that was one of the cool. We definitely ship her and Cal Kestis.
Yep. It might not hug at the end.
It might not end very well. Because this guy is a Jedi, and so is Seer Junda, and they gotta die before episode 4 or 5 or whichever. They gotta die by the time the original trilogy comes out.
Well, she doesn't. She's a witch.
She doesn't, and that's the thing.
It'd be sad for her, maybe.
Yeah, it would be, but like we ship that 100%.
Oh yeah.
So the story kind of ends with Cal, he's alive.
They spend the whole time looking for this holocron.
Yeah.
Which has the names of children so they can rebuild the Jedi Order.
Yeah, children who are fluent in the Force, and so that's your thing. Also, the second sister's trying to get it so that she can give it to Vader or whatever. So in the end,
whatever bad guys do.
Yeah, in the end, you do get the holocron, and it makes it seem like they're gonna go off, and then Cal Kestis, what does he do? To save canon, he chops the thing in half, and he says, "Let the force,
Guide them.
kind of guide them and have its will with whoever wants to be a Jedi, or whoever it wants to be a Jedi and stuff like that."
Right.
And so kind of saving face with canon as far as these people not having their own little Jedi order somewhere. And it kind of ends like that with Cal and Grease, who is their pilot, who is the same species as Rio from Solo, a Star Wars story. Grease is funny. He's kind of the comedic.
He's a lot more short and dumpy and not so nimble as Rio. Rio seems to be like climbing around and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but he's funny.
Yeah, he's a funny.
He's definitely
dude.
the comedic relief in the video game, and it works.
He likes his food, likes his plants.
Yeah, he talks about cooking, and then you have like a little atrium in the ship that he has, which looks pretty cool, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He has a little atrium where you can get seeds from the planets that you visit and plant them there, and they all grow, and it looks nice. So it's Cal, it's Grease, it's Sierra Junda, and then it is the Night Sister Marin, and they're gonna, go off and have some adventures in the future.
Yeah.
This game will be getting content that like paid content later on that you can buy, and I'm assuming that it will be like extra stories or extra missions and stuff like that. Maybe an actual like definitive end to the story, because it wasn't a cliffhanger. I won't say it's a cliffhanger ending, but it's like an ending as far as like these guys can have more adventures, and it's like, well, these guys can't be around for the original trilogy, but they do have about 15 years to play with there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Cal could be a middle-aged father with the Night Sister Marin.
Mm-hmm.
I shipped that so hard. As soon as she like kind of came onto the crew in the video game, I was like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah, their stories are really kind of parallel.
Oh yeah.
He obviously being a part of this
the
fallen
Jedi purge.
Jedi order,
And then-
and her being a part of the Night Sisters, who are no longer around.
Yeah, and the reason they're no longer
lonely.
around is because, and in the video game, they make reference to, there's an arc in the Clone Wars, I forget which season it is, but there's an arc in the Clone Wars where General Grievous goes to Dathomir with a bunch of droids and just starts taking the Night Sisters out, and she says in this video game that she's like the last one. And that's kind of why she goes off with Cal in this group. And I'm like, all right, man, rebuild the Night Sister Order. You know what I'm saying?
The Night Sister Jedi Order.
The Night Sister, yeah.
Yeah. So their stories are just really.
And she makes a joke for the most of the
serious.
video game. She's very serious and matter of fact and stuff like that. And towards the end, she kind of makes a joke, and it was like, even we were like, what? And then it was funny though.
Yeah, I like her, and I like their pairing. They're just like. It's such a good example of like people just like having to leave their past behind to move on to different things, because you can't live in the past your entire life.
It was really cool.
And I'm sure it wasn't good for her to be always surrounded by zombie Night Sisters.
Yeah, I mean, must have been tough.
Yeah, there was that old Jedi fake or not fake dude. Forget his name, but
Terran.
He had some like scratches on his chest.
Malicus.
Malicus.
Malicos. Malicus was his name. He was a former Jedi who went to the Dathomir, and he's kind of hung around there.
Crazy dude.
He basically became like a discount Sith. I mean, he had red lightsabers. He was all about that Dathomirian magic stuff.
Yeah.
And so you fight him.
He gets buried alive.
He gets buried alive. The Night
Cal
Sister
doesn't beat him though.
No.
The Night Sister does.
The Night Sister. Cal kind of helps.
Well, yeah, he
can't
fights
take
him
that
all
away
the way
from them.
through,
But much like a good couple, they tackle the obstacle together, and the guy dies.
Yeah, I ship it.
I ship it for sure. One of the cool things is Saul Guerrero shows up.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And actually, Forrest Whitaker came back to do the voice, which when I was playing it, I was like, oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
That sounds very much like him. And I just saw here that he did it, and I'm like, yeah, that's makes sense.
Well, I feel like every time he goes to Celebration, or the one time that I saw an interview from him at Celebration, he was like so like cool about it. Like, yeah, I did Rebels. I wanted.
Oh, yeah.
I did Clone Wars, or he didn't do Clone Wars, but he watched the Clone Wars and really tried to
get the character
through that. And I was like, yes, this is a man
Yeah.
after Star Wars' own heart. Like, he's gonna go back and watch everything and read the books and be like so cool. So I obviously, when I heard his voice, I was like, that's totally him, because of course he would come and do this. It's a great character.
It is.
Like,
it's not a huge part in the video game either. It's a nice part. It's not like a cameo. He definitely is there for more than just a cameo. He kind of helps you out a lot on Kashyyyk, which is pretty cool to see him and some Wookiees doing battle against the Empire. It is a really fun game. I think you guys should definitely check it out if you have not. It's a really fun game. I definitely recommend it.
I enjoyed watching it more than playing it.
Yeah, but that's because you don't play video games all that much.
No, not necessarily.
we cannot understate though. Personally, I cannot understate though how, like, not only helpful but how fun, how adorable BD1 is. Your little droid who kind of helps you out. He is
so
also
many Awes.
he is also integral to the story.
Yeah.
In a way that is pretty cool. But yeah, BD1, one of if, let's be honest here, if Baby Yoda hadn't come out in the same week as BD1, we would be like, oh, he's the cutest thing out right now.
Right.
You know, but Baby Yoda just edges him out. But BD1 is your little droid companion for this video game, and he is fun.
He has a sacrifice. He lets go of his memories in order to sort of save some information for the Jedi that Cal is sort of following.
Yeah, BD, he's integral to the story. He's fun. He has some cool moments. He's like a little chicken, basically. He has the two legs. He doesn't roll around or anything like that, so he can kind of climb on your back, and he's on your back most of the time. And it's just, it's a nice little, it's one of the cutest things that came out, last week. And to be honest with you, he's one of the better parts of this video game, and that is, that's high praise for BD1.
Yeah,
because there was a lot I enjoyed.
In a world of droids.
Yes, he stands out.
I like the story a lot, and I want to see more. I want to see if at the
least, you guys go on YouTube and check out like the cut scenes from the story of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's a nice story.
I don't know that I would say it's my favorite. Battlefront 2 is for me like really great.
Okay,
but I have to rewatch it and compare them.
Yeah.
But
this one was longer. It definitely was longer.
But I had a lot of fun with it. So
oh yeah.
Definitely, if you're into video games, I'm sure you'll
like
this.
I had a lot of feels. There was a few times where I got the feels. They used some Duel of the Fates in there.
Yeah, there were certain points where the music kicked up and we're like, whoa, what's this? And then all of a sudden you get attacked by like bounty hunters or something.
That was one of the cooler things. So like, for anybody who knows video games, especially single player video games, most of the time it's kind of like go from mission to mission and complete your mission throughout the time that you are there, and it's mostly linear, straightforward, go from A to B, kill everybody in between or whatever, and that's how you complete the game. One of the cool things about this video game that I felt kind of kept it fresh whenever it did happen was, I think 3 times throughout the game, in just maybe it probably wasn't random to them, but random to me. Just in one of the missions, you would have some bounty hunters come after you, and it was a nice like pause in the fighting the Empire. It was a nice just to pause from that and focus on, oh my goodness, I'm being chased by bounty hunters. I gotta take these guys out now. It was a nice little pause and refresh. And I think that's super smart. I gotta like tip my hat to the guys over at Respawn Entertainment who made the video game. They did a solid job, not only with the mechanics, the force abilities, the awesome lightsaber combat stuff, but also the story is really solid too. And they made BD1, so can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much our thoughts on both The Mandalorian Episode 3, The Sin, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Tell us in the comment section down below what you thought about both of these. If you've played Jedi Fallen Order, tell us what you thought about it in the comment section down below. The Mandalorian, tell us your thoughts there. Tell us where you would like to see the show go in the future. I didn't really have any speculation. I don't think you had much. We're just kind of excited to see. We're obviously excited to see where it goes and to see some more of the characters that we know are in there pop up. So yeah, tell us your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let your friends know about the show.
JJ, we know you got a lot of friends.
You got a lot of friends. Let them know about the show.
Shmi. Go get all your ghostly friends.
Yes. Let's get this together. Let's have our 5 regulars. We love you guys. We enjoy that you enjoy it, and we just kind of like having fun talking Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll be back next time talking the 4th episode of The Mandalorian here on this channel. So see you then, and may the Force be with you.
Always.